Can we increase our business profit by making our people work less? Sounds very counterintuitive, isn't it? What if I told you it can be done? Welcome to the world of Lean. And today we are going to discuss about one of the most fundamental concepts of Lean: value and waste. So why should you listen to this? Well, if you have a business and want to maximize your profits, this session can be very helpful in identifying the hidden opportunities for you. If you are an employee wanting to move ahead in your career, understanding and implementing improvements inspired by this topic can help your company save a lot of money and earn you respect in the eyes of your superiors. Now, this can be a rather tricky topic because of the way we are used to thinking. Normally, whatever we see as necessary, we consider it to be of value. We think that we have to do those activities, and without them, the product cannot be made or delivered. The customer may be willing to pay for this just because they do not see any other alternative. Stress alert: this topic is likely to question your traditional beliefs and assumptions. Some of the propositions made here may go against your conventional way of thinking. You can think of this session like a pair of glasses. It may take some time to adjust to your new vision, but once you are able to see new opportunities, you can use them for your success. Some years back, it used to take nearly half an hour of waiting and moving from counter to counter to get our own money out of the bank. There were also multiple signatures and weird looks from the bank employee if the signature were a little different. And then came the private banks with ATM and mobile banking and internet banking. Now forget about half an hour. If there are even two people in an ATM queue, we want to move to the next one. The banks who did this understood the concept of value and were able to redesign their activities to enhance customer value and reduce costs. In very simple words, if the customer is ready to pay for something, we can consider that activity to be value added. For example, while we are shopping, looking for options, selecting the right product, and even trying it out if it is an apparel, are all value-added activities. However, waiting in a queue, traveling to the shop, etc. may not be what the customer is looking for. In some cases, even though the customer does not want to pay for these second set of activities, they may have to do so because of lack of options. But keep in mind, once an alternate is available, they would often switch to the cheaper source. The rise of online shopping is an example of people switching to less wasteful processes when they have options. These activities that the customers do not want to pay for are called waste. Yes, I do understand that waste is a strong word and may be a little difficult to digest. So how do we determine whether any given activity is value adding or not? You can perform 3 tests. And if the answer to all the 3 questions is yes, then and only then the activity is value added. Even if one of the answers is no, the activity will be called non-value added or waste. The first question to ask is whether there is a change in product characteristics. If there is no change in product characteristics, we know for sure that the activity is non-value added. For example, at a tailor, cutting the cloth, stitching, putting on buttons, etc. are all value-added activities. There is some change in product characteristics in each of these operations. However, even though inspection is important, no change in product characteristic is happening. By this, we can see that inspection is a necessary but non-value-adding activity. Yes, I know, it's important and it's necessary, and sometimes we do make corrections in the product after the inspection. But just pause for a moment. During inspection, no change is taking place on the product. I am doing it only since I am not sure of my product quality. More inspection will cost me more money. If a competitor starts making all good products and does not need to inspect, they will either make more money than me or will reduce prices and take away my customers. The second question to ask is whether that change is required by the customer. If the change that is happening is not what the customer requires, it is still non-value adding. Imagine you are baking a cake and the cake gets very hard as a rock. There is a change in product characteristics, but not in a way that customer wants. Your money is spent, but the customer does not want what you have created. The final question to ask is this: am I doing it the first time or is it a rework? Consider that you have your product ready to be packed and shipped to the customer. You notice some dust. The finishing department says that they have already cleaned it once and will clean again before shipping. This is once again a non-value added activity from customer's point of view. Customer needs clean products. If you are incurring extra cost by cleaning it twice or thrice, the customer may not be willing to pay for your extra efforts. Waste occurs when we do activities that add cost to us but not value to our customers. They make us expensive and uncompetitive. Waste is classified into 7 categories. An easy way to remember this is to use an acronym TIMWOOD. TIMWOOD. Let us look at each of these in a little more detail. The T in TIMWOOD stands for transportation. I know we are starting with the most controversial waste, but just hear me out. First of all, it fails the very first test. When we transport an item, the only thing that changes is the location of the product. And the location of the product is not a property of the product. It's not a characteristic of the product. I know this is theoretical, so let us look at a more practical example. Suppose you like Mysore pak. And since there is nobody in your city who makes it, you diligently order it every month online from Bangalore and are willing to pay the courier costs. One day you find out that your favorite brand has opened its shop just next to your house. Now think, will you still continue with the courier or walk across to get fresh dessert at no extra cost? We used to pay for sending letters. Now with emails, do we still feel the urge to post a letter every time we need to communicate? I understand when there is a whole logistic industry that is earning out of transporting goods, it is hard to accept that transportation is non-value added activity. But just think about it. If humans are able to invent teleportation one day, who knows? The transportation industry may disappear, just as photo paper and Kodak virtually disappeared with the advent of digital camera. The I in TIMWOOD stands for inventory. Inventory is created when the material is sitting, waiting for it to be taken to another value creating step. This again is a controversial topic. Traditionally, accounting practices teach us that inventory is an asset. We also believe that if we keep inventory, it improves our ability to sell more. If you are like most organizations, the inventory would be overflowing, but that one thing that the customer is asking for will not be available in the inventory. Inventory costs storage space, people for upkeep, and it also blocks money. We cover more details in our videos on inventory management. Inventory also fails the first test of value. No product property changes while the product is sitting. Sometimes change happens like rusting or expiry, but that fails the second test, where the change is not what the customer desires. Both inventory and transportation are waste of material. Material is either sitting or moving without adding any value to the customer. Now the next two letters, M and W, stand for motion and waiting. Motion occurs when people move but there is no change in the product. For example, picking, bending, stretching, etc. Waiting occurs when people do not have the material or order or equipment available to work. The imbalance between two workstations can cause one workstation to wait while the other finishes its task. Just like inventory is idle material, waste of waiting is idle human resource. The first four wastes all fail the first test of value. No change is happening on the product itself. Now, before we look at the first O in Tim Wood, let us quickly address the last two items in the list. The last item D stands for defects. Now, this one is a no-brainer. A defect is something other than what the customer has asked for. It clearly fails the second test. We put in all the money and effort and get a product that we cannot sell. Now we may need to either scrap it or reduce its value, as in sell it as a seconds, or rework it. What a waste of resources. The second O is for over-processing or putting in more effort than is actually required. For example, tightening the bolt again and again, rework, etc. Yes, rework is a waste. Customer pays us to get an okay product. If we are spending money to correct a defect that our customer did not ask us to produce, passing on that cost to the customer may not work in the long run. It also fails the third test. This is not the first time you are creating the right product characteristic. And finally, the first O in Tim Wood stands for overproduction. Overproduction happens when we make things faster than required, sooner than required, or more than required. In each of these three scenarios, we need to hold the extra material till the customer is ready to buy it. This is the waste of inventory. Now, since we cannot keep on storing this inventory next to the machine, we have to make space for the next production run. We will need to transport this to a temporary storage. Waste of transportation. While this transportation is happening, someone is waiting for instructions. Waste of waiting. Or people are moving around without changing product characteristics to ensure suitable storage. Or waste of movement. The future cleanup before supplying this to the customer is the waste of overprocessing, and any loss of material that can happen in this journey is the waste of defects. Can you see why overproduction is considered the mother of all wastes? These were the original 7 wastes, but later an 8th waste was identified, the waste of human potential. This talks about making more capable people do mundane jobs. Watch out for this waste. Automation and artificial intelligence are already working on removing these wastes. Okay, so why is it important to know these 7 wastes? Well, the first step to solving any problem is to recognize that the problem exists. If you are not able to see the waste in the system, you will have no reason to work on removing the waste. If your competitor is able to see the waste, act on it, and make it their value proposition, it can significantly harm your business. Just as I said, identifying wastes is only the first step. Reducing non-value added activities take a lot of other effort. These wastes in themselves are not the problem. They are only symptoms of a problem. Working on symptoms may only give temporary relief but cause long-term harm. So we need to find the problem and work on it. Just like paracetamol may reduce fever but not attack the virus. In the next few videos, we will look at the ways to identify and cure the viruses behind these symptoms. We hope you will be able to use this in your life or in your workplace effectively. If you are a business owner and are looking for help in becoming more productive and profitable, please contact us. If you are looking to improve your knowledge and skills regarding productivity improvement, please have a look at our other videos. Some of them are coming soon. If there are any topics you would want to know more about, do let us know. We will try to include those also. If you have any suggestions or you would like to join our movement to transform Indian industry, do comment or write to us at the email address shown here. Have a happy learning and a great day ahead. Thank you.